Okay, I'm not the sports pastor, but I do know the World Series is going on, and I do know that some famous musician, James Taylor, was it? Sang the national anthem incorrectly. Remember that this week? So James Taylor? I got the right name? Okay. Yeah, I do. Okay. See if you had... Yeah, that's also not my gift, knowing those names of artists like that. Anyways, he was supposed to sing the national anthem, and instead he came out with, you remember? America, sing it with me. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, forever waves of grain, for purple mountains' majesty, above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, maybe he could have sung this one. Join me. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairie, to the ocean, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Oh, that's the seventh inning stretch? Okay, I didn't know that part. Come on, I'm doing good to know there's a World Series. Or what about this one? This one's actually in our hymnal. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside, let freedom ring. Why are those songs so popular? Why can we sit here and sing those when we don't even have the words in front of us? Any idea? Talk to me. Say that again? You sang them in school. What about the rest of you? Why do they elicit such emotion in us? Why do we love to hear those songs? Because we're patriotic and love our country. What about the rest of it? Makes you feel good? Why? Okay, so the songs somehow have been associated with feeling good, uplifting. Anybody else? What was the last two words of the last song we sang? Let freedom ring, or however that goes. Huh? Close enough. Close enough musically. Let freedom ring. There's something about being free that just elicits that sense of joy, that sense of patriotism, that sense of remembering our past. We like living in a free country, don't we? And you guys all thought it was the 4th of July when I started singing all those, didn't you? Let freedom ring. We appreciate, I'm telling you, all of us really do appreciate. We complain about the government all we want. We can complain about Obamacare. We can complain about screwed up websites. You name it. But you know something? There isn't one of us in this room, I will bet, that doesn't truly appreciate the freedom we have in the United States of America. And that's, I think, why those songs dig so deep into our hearts and souls and elicit such emotion. Why we have learned those songs from our childhood right on up and can sing them without music in front of us. We like to be free. In the case of those songs and our national freedom, it was won for us in many and various ways by ancestors, many of whom were in the military, many of whom stormed beachheads, some of whom threw tea over the side of a ship. But you know something? It's Reformation we think. And I want to talk to you about another kind of freedom. The Gospel of John said these words, "You will know the truth, and it's the truth that will make you free." What is that truth? When we look at that video this morning, that little interaction between Jesus and Peter, it started with an explanation of what grace is. And then there's this Easter scene that happens. Peter runs up to, "You're alive, you're alive, you're alive." No, that was beehive, beehive, beehive. No. At one point in that video, Jesus asks Peter 3 times again, what did the angel say? She said, "You're alive, you've risen, let's go." What did she say? "Go tell Peter and the disciples that he's alive. Come on, let's go." What did he say? "Go tell Peter, you said my name. Why did you say my name? I don't deserve you to call me by name." What's that all about? You see, Peter's going back and remembering that rooster that crowed and how many times he denied it. And then Jesus says, "No." And he points this way and he says, "When I died on that cross, it was to make those unforgivable sins forgiven." Catch that, guys. When I died on that cross, it was to make those unforgivable sins forgiven. You see, Peter has already said to Jesus in that little scenario, "I don't deserve it. I don't deserve your forgiveness. I don't deserve to have you call me by name. I'll take a lifetime for me to repay you for what I've done to you." Peter, when I died on that cross, it was to make those unforgivable sins forgiven. Peter, it's never about you. It's always about me. It's always about Jesus. That's the truth. And that's the truth that will make you free. It doesn't take a nation. It doesn't take a military. It doesn't take the Marines. It doesn't take the Navy SEALs. It doesn't take Obamacare. What it takes is a Lord that loved us so much that he would die for us, to make what was unforgivable in us forgiven. That's grace. That's grace. Now, our other text says to us that grace is a gift. Now, what happens when we get gifts? Huh? Okay, everybody's smiling. Everybody likes gifts, don't they? All right, Pastor Mary Ellen, what happens when... You want it? Now? Later? You can't have it till later. See, there's anticipation that goes with this. There's excitement that goes with this. You did that very well. Thank you. This was not set up. Because again, just like that music elicited those emotions, I think gifts elicit exactly. Which that was a little dramatized, but be that as it may, I think all of us get a little excited when there's a gift wrapped up and we don't know what's inside, and the label says that it's for me. There is that sense of excitement. How many of you want to admit to having shaken your Christmas presents before Christmas? How many of you have ever been guilty of opening those Christmas gifts and then resealing them? All right, there's a couple of you that want to admit to that one. You see, these gifts always elicit that kind of excitement and joy within each of us. We don't have to be kids. I went to a wedding yesterday. Some of you remember Aaron Boucher, Shane and Robin's son. Aaron got married yesterday. I can't believe that, but he got married yesterday. And there was, of course, a gift table sitting there at the reception. And I remember hearing Aaron go by and say, "Oh, I can hardly wait to open those." Yeah, we always get excited when we get gifts. Well, inside my gift, there's a piece of paper that says grace, God's undeserved love. That's what Paul tells us is the greatest gift of all. And it doesn't come wrapped in a package, but it comes hanging on a cross. Grace, God's undeserved love. Do we deserve that Jesus would die for us? Do we deserve the grace and love of God? No. If it depended upon my worthiness to receive that gift, I'd never get it. Even I would never get it. Luther struggled with this all the time. You may have heard some of the stories about Luther, but his sin was something that just weighed him down. He would spend hours and hours, days and days, trying to remember every thought, every word, every deed that he'd done that might have been something God didn't like. And he'd go and he'd spend hours with his confessor, waiting to hear the good news of God's grace. And he never managed to understand it and hear it. How many of you feel like that some days? Like you really don't deserve this. I think one of the hardest things in the Christian faith for us to get is grace. I think it's given to us all the time. It's a gift, and it's free, and it's undeserved. But most of us don't understand it. Most of us don't get it. We speak the words. We come on Reformation Sunday, and we sing the Lutheran national anthem. A mighty fortress, okay? And I hope, by the way, that elicits as much feeling in your heart and soul as do those national songs we began with. But this gift of grace, my friends, is free, and it is undeserved, but it's yours anyway. Hear those words. Free. Undeserved. A gift. Now, what happens when you get a gift at your house? My mother always taught me I had to write thank you notes. I hated writing thank you notes. I have an image of myself sitting at the counter one day with this paper and pencil in front of me, and I looked at my mother and I said, "What am I supposed to write?" "Dear Grandma, thank you for my birthday present." She had to dictate that thank you note to me, and I remember it distinctly. And I always thought it was a chore to have to write those things. I remember when I got married thinking, this is going to take me 6 months to write all these thank you notes. But I'm an adult now, and I have a different perspective on thank you notes. I don't expect them when I give gifts, but I can tell you that they mean a lot to me here when I receive that thank you note. I don't need them, but I appreciate them. It's different, isn't it? It's not an obligation for someone to send me one, but it brings me joy when they do. Now imagine yourself as God, who has now given you this gift of grace. You don't have to say thank you. But I can guarantee you, it brings joy to God's heart when we do. It brings joy to his heart to know that we have appreciated this gift of grace. And the thing about this gift is that it sets us free. So you see, it's not about an army. It's not about the Marines. It's not about the Navy SEALs. It's not even about a nation. It's about a cross. And that's what sets us free. You know that. You need to hear it over and over again. I do. I know. And I'm assuming, therefore, you do too. That this is the gift that sets us free. This is the one that can release me of all that dependence upon the old ways. All that need to, let's see, Peter put it, take me a lifetime to repay what I've done to you. It's free. And it sets you free. Now, we began today with some songs that elicited that kind of joy in your heart, emotion as well. We sing songs here every week, all kinds of songs. Some of which you know and some of which you don't, some of which you grew up with, some of which are brand new to you. But the thing about those songs that I hope rings true for you is that if you listen carefully to those words, they will elicit the same kind of joy and emotion in your heart as do the words of those patriotic songs. Because those words often sing of God's grace. God's grace that sets you free. On Reformation weekend, we celebrate the freedom we have. The freedom we have in Christ because of his grace, because of his cross. So when at the end of the service we do get to sing the Lutheran national anthem, listen carefully to those words. Listen to the grace that those words tell you about. Listen to the confidence that they give you and the freedom they provide. It's not about us. It is about Jesus.